Hi, this is Gwen Reyes with the Dallas International Film Festival. I'm sitting here with Centerpiece Screening director Marius Markevicius,
That
of
was
the other
close.
Dream Team. So thank you so much. I know the film is our Centerpiece Screening tonight, so we're really excited to have it.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm very, very excited to be here. Just flew in this morning and
Wow.
excited for the screening tonight.
Oh, good. Well, I know it's so just flying in, you're just like ready to be immersed in some Dallas time.
No, I'm excited to be here, I've heard great things about the festival and heard it's been going great. So I can't wait for the screening. Thank you guys for having me.
So I think what's really interesting about 1992, where the film takes place, is that we all think of that as Americans. We're always thinking about our dream team, but this one is about the Lithuanian team that came in bronze. Can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about why you were inspired to tell that story?
Yeah, just briefly to summarize, in 1992, the Lithuanian national basketball team won the bronze medal in Barcelona, and they were a newly independent nation. They had just come from 50 years under communist rule, getting their independence in 1990, and they really had to scramble to put their first Olympic teams together, and they had no money, and they had to overcome tons of obstacles, and so it was really an inspirational story. And one of the big twists was that the Grateful Dead heard of their plight and actually helped them out with some financing and some financial sponsorship, and then they also made these T-shirts, these tie-dye.
I know, I want
one. See them, but it's like a dunking skeleton tie-dye T-shirt that became a big hit at the Olympics because the guys would just wear them everywhere, and they were just on this great freedom movement, and the tie-dye and the Grateful Dead, really represented that movement really well. But yes, it was sort of under the spotlight of what was the bigger news was America's Dream Team, and they had all the glitz and glamour, and without question they'll go down in history as the best basketball team ever assembled, they deserve the name Dream Team, absolutely. But our film delves into what we call the other Dream Team, and it was a different type of dream, the dream of freedom and independence, and forging their own identity and culture. So that's sort of the idea behind the title and what the movie's about.
Well, and what I think is really great about this, and what the Olympics does in general, is it kind of has these opportunities, especially after 1989 and 1990, when all of these satellite countries were getting their independence from Russia. What I think what's really great about the Olympics is that you have these teams that are like, we're rebuilding, we're bringing sort of notification to our country on a national scale, or on an international scale.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Olympics is the ultimate platform for that, and they say that it's supposed to be free of politics, but that's not true. It's
Right.
I mean, there's tons of politics in not only the Olympics but sports in general, and it can really become a platform for a country to forge their own identity and put themselves on the map in a sense, literally, and figuratively. And yes, the leap from 1988 to 1992, when these guys, the athletes on the Lithuanian team, had to play in '88 for the Soviet Union,
Right.
and they actually won a gold medal. They beat the United States in a big upset. Is when we before we had professional athletes, they were college athletes, but the Soviet Union beat the United States, and 4 of the starting 5 on that team were Lithuanians, and it was kind of a bittersweet medal for them because they won the gold. Of course, it was fantastic, but they didn't win it for themselves or for their country. They won it for this system which they didn't agree with,
right.
and didn't really didn't want to be a part of. And then you leap, so from '88 to '92, I mean, the world turned upside down, and there was dozens of new countries, and South Africa unified, and the Eastern European countries got their independence from the Soviet Union, and so there was a lot of new energy and new life at the '92 Olympics, which made it really special.
Absolutely, and I think it's interesting because, as we said, we always think back to the American team, but this story is so great because of that, like overcoming that. When you were putting the film together, what were some like really interesting secrets that you kind of discovered as you were like going through the stories and the interviews and everything?
Yeah, a ton. I mean, we, unearthed a ton of amazing stories and anecdotes. Donnie Nelson has a couple of incredible stories. Donnie, the GM of your Dallas Mavericks,
yep.
and he was an amazing perspective because he was an American that was out there in Lithuania in the mid to late '80s when it was still a closed society, and not a lot of Americans got back there, and he went to recruit a couple of these Lithuanian players and befriended Šarūnas Marčiulionis, who ended up coming to play for the Golden State Warriors. And Donnie has some amazing stories about being out there and literally being, tailed by the KGB and having conversations like bugged and
Wow.
having to go outside of the apartments to walk, and so that their conversations couldn't be listened to because he was a threat. Like at that time, a lot of people were trying to defect from the Soviet Union or come to, seek, employment or their dreams or whatever, and the Soviets were not happy about that, and so they tried to really keep an eye on things, and he had some amazing stories which are in the film. Another thing that stuck out to me was just hearing about the lifestyle that these guys lived as star athletes behind the Iron Curtain. They earned the same money as basically a factory worker. It's in a communist system. It was just, one flat salary for anyone who works for the state, essentially. So they made very, very little money, even though they won a gold medal. And when they would travel abroad for like tournaments and so forth, they would actually smuggle things. They would like buy blue jeans in America or shoes in Spain or VCRs and smuggle that stuff back to the Soviet Union and sell it on the black market just to earn extra money for their family. So, it's hard to imagine for us today, like, star athletes or NBA guys having to resort to smuggling stuff just to, earn a few extra dollars to, help put food on the table or to get a car or any basic things, so.
That's, because I would imagine that would be, it is hard to kind of comprehend and understand because we idolize our athletes so much here, and then seeing that it's not necessarily treated the same way. It's a really great point. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about your shirt, though.
Yeah.
And how did the Grateful Dead kind of figure out about the team and want to get involved with them?
Well, it went back to the Golden State Warriors in the Bay Area. Sarunas Marciulionis was playing for the Warriors, and he was at the same time trying to raise money and put this team together for the Olympics that were coming up in '92. So it was in '91. George Shirk was a writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, and he interviewed Sarunas about this process and about the new country and what he was trying to do and put together. And the members of Grateful Dead had read that article, and in fact, again, Donnie was one of the guys. Donnie Nelson helped put them together. He brought Sarunas to a Dead show on one of their off nights, and it's a pretty funny part in the film that Sarunas had, he'd never been to an American rock concert, and he said that there was like, a funny smell in the air.
I was going to say that would be the best way to go to as your intro.
Yeah, he'd never experienced that. That scent in the air, I guess, but it's a really funny part of the film. But anyway, they ended up meeting with Jerry Garcia and members of the Dead, and those guys said, you guys are all about freedom, and we want to support you, and they gave a financial donation, and then helped create these T-shirts, which the Lithuanian team ended up wearing all around Barcelona in the Olympic Village, and eventually they wore them on the medal stand, and that became like an iconic moment because you're actually not supposed to. It was iconic and controversial too because you're supposed to only wear the approved,
Olympics,
Adidas like sponsor, whatever the sponsor was, and they stood next to the Dream Team, who was very slick and wearing, Adidas warm-ups, and there was actually controversy because Michael Jordan and the American guys, a lot of them were Nike guys, and they had to like drape the American flag over the logos to not conflict with their sponsors. And so, you think about the contrast of what was happening there with like US and, the US team winning the gold, and but it's a lot of commerce happening, and these guys were just pure adulation and joy and freedom, and wearing these silly tie-dye shirts as a thank you to the Grateful Dead for helping them out.
That's amazing. And it's such a great visual too, like to see that kind of like contrast between the two of them. So if people are interested in knowing more about Other Dream Team, where should they go to get more information about it?
You can go to our website. It's theotherdreamteam.com. And then we also have a Facebook page where you can access from our website or just Google the Other Dream Team, and a lot of information and news on the website and Facebook page. So yeah, we're very excited about it, and we're looking forward to a theatrical release. We have a couple new great partners in Lionsgate and Film Arcade who are distributing the film later this year, and the dates are not set yet, but it will be soon, and that information will be on the website soon.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, and good luck tonight with the centerpiece screening.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was great.
All right.